10th episode begins with Christopher Pike recording a captain's personal log. He reports Marie Battel is returning to duty. She will step into the role of Starfleet Judge Advocate General's Office Director. In the transporter room, Pike greets Battel. Battel asks Pike to take her to his cabin so they can disappear for the next 72 hours. But waiting in Pike's quarters is a surprise party to celebrate her promotion. Enterprise will be ferrying Battel back to Earth, giving the crew a chance to attend her promotion. Spock says they will also run ship-wide diagnostics. Enterprise has had a few challenging months. Chapel excuses herself to receive a communication from Roger Corby. A phrase spoken by the Vzda is a close match for a city on Skygoen. Corby followed this lead to the planet, where he's integrated himself as a cleric. Battel doesn't remember hearing the phrase. From Skygoen, Corby reports that the culture exists around the belief that the Vzda were gods. Corby has built sufficient trust to beam up to an exclusive holy place high above the ground. Corby believes he may be on the trail of immortality. In Enterprise Medical, Scotty tells Mbenga that they will have to shut down the medical transporter, including the buffers for the diagnostic. Mbenga says they recently did a purge, but Scotty detects an anomaly. Scotty asks if someone could have used the medical transporter without Mbenga's knowledge. Mbenga says access is DNA locked. Chapel locates a human pattern broken into pieces. Scotty says it seems to have been rebuilt from emergency backups. He attempts to make the pieces recohere. It was Gamble who was rebuilt. On Skygoen, Gamble aka Vzda confronts Corby, dressed in an ornate and menacing masked outfit. In the ready room, La'an reports that all signs indicate the Vzda rebuilt Gamble's body and activated the transporter from within. 12 hours earlier, Corby's emergency transponder was activated, but he hasn't responded to any hails since. It will take 11 hours for Enterprise to reach Skygoen. Pike instructs Una and La'an to lead a covert tactical landing party. They're to locate Corby and assess the Vzda situation. Spock is to reassess the data from the Vadia 9 mission. If one of the demons is loose, they must contain it. The landing party of Una, Mbenga, Uhura, Chapel, and La'an walks through the public spaces of Skygoen. They locate the gateway to the area above. Una and Mbenga repeat a ploy they used on Rigel. They both act drunk, distracting the gateway guards. Then La'an sneaks up behind the guards and uses a Vulcan nerve pinch on them. Una steps through the portal first. In the Skygoen temple, Corby tells the away team they shouldn't have come. Corby reports Vzda possesses Gamble. Furthermore, some of those on Skygoen worship him. In the Skygoen marketplace, Vzda addresses a crowd. He tells them they're in the final days. He begins speaking in an alien language. The crowd speaks with him. Then, several stab out their own eyes. In the Skygoen temple, the away team and Corby discuss how to stop Vzda. They recall the orbs they found on Vadia could contain it. Corby says the Vzda tried to get through this portal. Uhura observes that it depicts a pair of beings locked in battle. Corby says the idea of good and evil is a widely held belief across civilizations. Uhura says one of the verses is in Swahili, her and Mbenga's first language. Mbenga reads the text and says it refers to one of his childhood experiences, the first time he took a life. Una asks how his life story could be written here, light years away from where Mbenga was born. He says he delivered Gamble to the creature that took his body. He says he might be destined to be there. The portal scans Mbenga's face and opens. Mbenga says he can go alone and find one of the orbs, but Vzda is hidden nearby. He steps between Mbenga and the others and blasts energy out of his hands, knocking the others away. Then, Vzda throws himself at Mbenga, causing both of them to fall into the portal. Inside the portal, Vzda tells Mbenga the portal is about duality. Two must pass through for it to work. Vzda confirms he can access Gamble's memories. He also confirms he plans to release the demon spirits on Skygoen so they can possess people there. Vzda blasts the crystalline structure over the well containing the orbs. On Enterprise, Battel experiences physical pain. Light appears on her skull and palms. Her eyes glow with light. La'an and Una inform Pike that there was no way for them to follow Mbenga through the portal. Una postulates that Vzda had to go through with Mbenga, which is why the remaining away team members are alive. Chapel contacts Pike and tells him to get to sick bay. There, they wonder why Battel's eyes have changed. Chapel says she previously saw this on an altar pictograph. Then, Battel's eyes fade back to normal. Chapel makes a connection between the bioscan of the crystalline beholder structure above the well on Vadia 9 and Battel. Both bioscans match. Chapel says, according to the data, Battel is the statue and the statue is her. On Vadia 9, Mbenga asks if Vzda would be trapped if Mbenga were to die. Mbenga pulls out a knife and Vzda lunges toward him. The scanners from the door activate. Mbenga and Vzda are closed in separate rooms. On Enterprise, Pike says it doesn't make sense, but Battel says maybe it makes all the sense in the world. She cites the Gorn, the Chimera Blossom, and Una's Illyrian blood. They saved Battel, but they also changed her. She postulates that the Vzda are evil itself. Battel says when they fight back, they have an epigenetic response. Bodies change in response to the threats they face. Battel wonders if hybridizing her gave her the adaptive characteristics of races that faced evil. If the Vzda predate all their races, all subsequent races might have genetic variations to fight them, and Battel wonders if she might have received these. Since they're coming together in one body, they may be transforming her into a protector. Battel further surmises that something must have stood against the Vzda to imprison them to begin with. She wonders if she could be the warden to keep them trapped. Pike asks why this would be happening now, when Battel was born long after the Vzda. Spock points out that cause and effect can be reversed when dealing with interdimensional space. Battel says she feels like she's a puzzle piece that doesn't fit. No Starfleet jobs fit anymore. But this protector position does. She is the sentry, and always has been. Battel is resigned to standing guard forever. Spock said she will have to defeat Vzda first. Chapel postulates that proximity to Vzda will cause Battel to activate again. Pike says he's going with her. Soon, the pair is on Skygoen's surface. They find the portal. On Enterprise, Una states they must get power to Battel and Pike so they can open the portal. Scotty suggests beaming down a nuclear battery. Spock says this will not be sufficient power. Pelia says a focused starship phaser blast could get about half of the power. Scotty says it would have to be precisely targeted. Una suggests 2 starships. But Scotty says the 2 ships would have to fire in perfect synchronicity. Their systems won't allow them to do this. If they're a millisecond off, it will blow up the whole temple, and they will have to be fired manually. Spock has an idea. Soon, he and Ortegas are explaining the plan to James in the galley. To execute the plan, 2 pilots must operate together. Spock asks James what he knows about the Vulcan mind meld. James is reluctant to take part in that degree of intimacy. But 2 people must quickly share a consciousness to achieve the proper timing. James concedes, and they undertake the meld. Soon, Spock and James are in their respective positions on the bridges of the Enterprise and Farragut. The 2 ships move in perfect synchronicity. Then they fire in tandem, causing to open the portal. Pike recognizes the other side as Vadia 9. Then Mbenga appears. He warns them that Vzda is trying to break out, shortly before Vzda does so. Mbenga is knocked unconscious. Vzda recognizes Battel and calls Pike a pet. He says his people have long suffered under Battel's watch. He shoots energy beams at both Battel and Pike. Battel says Pike can't hurt Vzda, but Vzda can hurt him. She says it's something only she can do. Then Battel's hands begin to glow. Suddenly, the scene cuts to Pike and Battel, seemingly in their home on Earth. They wish each other a happy 2nd anniversary. Pike is cooking. Despite an agreement for no gifts, Pike has given Battel a present. They tease each other about who will take whose name. Battel has gotten Pike a gift too. They're interrupted by a knock at the door. Pike says he thinks he knows who it is. Admiral Robert April has been trying to persuade Pike to train cadets at the academy. Pike and Battel recall that after the encounter with the Vzda, they agreed to enjoy however much time they have left together. A golden retriever puppy enters. Years later, the dog is grown and the couple has a child. Battel comforts a uniformed Pike. He's been assigned to the training vessel where he will be injured by radiation. Pike already knows he will be returning injured a month early. Battel says they knew the day would come. Pike says if Battel faced the Vzda, he can face the accident. They're interrupted by a knock at the door. Later, Battel answers the door, and Pike is there, intact. Around a fire, Pike explains that the expected event transpired, except there was no radiation leak. Pike says there could be huge consequences for him if he avoids it. Battel says Skygoen might have changed things. Pike never totally understood what happened with Vzda. Battel says she opened up the fabric of space and time, possibly resetting everything. Pike doesn't know what's coming next anymore. Then, a knock at the door. Later, Pike prepares dinner. Battel is concerned that their daughter Juliet is bringing a guest with her, a month after she began her job at the Daystrom Institute. Juliet brings April's son, Elijah. They're asking for Battel's blessing for their marriage. They're interrupted by a knock, but only Pike seems to hear it. Even later, framed family photos decorate the walls. An elderly Battel lies in bed beside a different dog. An elderly Pike sits beside the bed. Battel tells Pike she won't really be gone. She says he just has to look up at the stars and know she's waiting for him there. A shooting star passes by in the sky outside. There's a knock at the door. Pike says he isn't leaving Battel. Battel says they were lucky to live their lives like this. She tells Pike to answer the door. He leaves her in the bed and answers the door. Vzda is waiting on the other side. He and Battel are facing Vzda. The demon spirits break out of the well and fill the air. The prison falls away. In a strange voice, Battel commands Vzda to stay. Vzda says she can't stop him. But Battel says she is the beholder, and also Battel. Her light cannot be extinguished. Gamble evaporates, leaving Vzda behind. Vzda disappears into the well. Battel transforms into the statue positioned over the well. Pike is left alone. Later, Pike records a supplemental captain's log. The people of Skygoen recovered in the wake of Vzda's disappearance. In the transporter room, Corby tells Chapel that he has more to study on Skygoen. He gives Chapel a scan of something he found, maps of unexplored areas of space. Chapel says it will never be easy between them. Corby says easy isn't interesting. Una pours drinks for her and Pike in Pike's quarters. She asks if Pike wants to talk. He's not ready yet. Pike's log continues over a montage. Pelia and Scotty work in engineering. Chapel and Mbenga work in medical. Uhura, Ortegas, and Una laugh at the bar. Spock and La'an meditate together. Pike muses that maybe the memories people share never vanish. Maybe memory is as real as the present, and no one we have really loved is truly gone. Pike arrives on the Enterprise bridge. Spock says Corby's Skygoen research has revealed enough uncharted planets for a 5-year mission. Ortegas plots a course to a promising M-class planet. On the view screen, Pike sees a shooting star. He sits in the center chair. Una asks if it's a hit-it situation. Pike says, it's whatever kind of adventure we want it to be. He tells Ortegas to take them out as fast as she wants to. Enterprise jumps to warp.